Ladies and gentlemen, the most dangerous people in the room are not the loudest ones. They are the ones who are listening, learning, building, and preparing while everyone else is busy announcing. In 2026, noise will be everywhere. Opinions, distractions, validation seeking, and shortcuts. But elevation will belong to those who know how to move in silence. Working quietly is not weakness. It is discipline. It is focus. It is the strength to resist the urge to explain yourself to people who are not committed to understanding you. When you work quietly, you give your vision room to grow without interference. You protect it from premature opinions, unnecessary comparisons, and the weight of expectations that are not aligned with your calling. There are seasons where your assignment requires isolation. Not because you are better than others, but because you are being built for something bigger than your current environment can comprehend. Preparation often looks like obscurity. Growth often feels like loneliness. But do not confuse silence with stagnation. Beneath the surface, roots are forming. Muscles are strengthening, capacity is expanding. Rising loudly does not mean bragging. It means results that speak so clearly they silence doubt. It means impact so undeniable that explanations are no longer required. When you rise loudly, doors open without you knocking. Opportunities find you without you chasing. People notice not because you demanded attention, but because excellence has a sound all its own. In 2026, your work introduce you. Let your consistency defend you. Let your growth surprise those who counted you out. You don't need applause in the process if you are committed to purpose in the outcome. Stay focused when no one is watching, because elevation does not respond to talk, it responds to transformation. So work quietly, train in private, heal in silence, build with intention. When the time comes, you won't need to announce your arrival. Your rise will be loud enough to be heard by everyone who once overlooked you. Silence is a strategy, not a sign of weakness. In a world that rewards volume, speed, and constant explanation, choosing silence can look like surrender. Real silence, the intentional kind, is not passive. It is active restraint. It is power under control. It is the decision to conserve energy instead of wasting it on noise that produces nothing. Silence is not the absence of action, it is the presence of focus. Most people speak because they are afraid of being misunderstood. They explain because they want approval. They announce because they want validation. Strength does not come from being constantly seen or heard. Strength comes from knowing who you are even when no one is watching, from trusting your direction even when no one is clapping. Silence allows you to move without interference, to build without pressure, to grow without comparison. When you operate in silence, you remove yourself from unnecessary battles. Not every opinion deserves a response. Every challenge requires an explanation. Some conflicts are designed to distract you, not to develop you. Silence becomes your filter. It helps you distinguish between what needs your attention and what is only trying to steal your time. By staying quiet, you deny chaos the access it seeks. Silence is also a form of discipline. It takes maturity to hold your tongue when emotions are high. It takes self-mastery to pause when provoked. Anyone can react, but few can respond with restraint. Silence gives you space to think clearly, to observe patterns, to make decisions that are rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. When you speak less, you hear more, and hearing more sharpens your judgment. There is a reason growth often happens quietly. Seeds do not announce themselves underground. Muscles do not grow while they are being flexed for display. Transformation requires privacy. In silence, you refine your skills, you correct your flaws, you build endurance. The loudest seasons of your life should be the result of work done in quiet ones. If you rush to be seen before you are ready, exposure can damage what preparation would have strengthened. Silence protects your vision. When you share your plans too early, you invite opinions that are not aligned with your purpose. Some people will project their fears onto your goals. Others will minimize what they do not understand. Silence keeps your direction pure. It allows you to move according to conviction rather than consensus. Everyone needs access to what you are becoming. Choosing silence does not mean you lack confidence. It means your confidence does not depend on external validation. You no longer need to prove your worth through constant explanation. Your work, your consistency, and your growth will speak when the time is right. Silence is what you choose when you trust the process more than the applause. There is also healing in silence. Some battles cannot be fought with words. Some pain cannot be explained to people who have never carried it. Silence allows you to process, to reflect, to rebuild without reopening wounds for public consumption. It gives you room to recover your strength without being rushed by expectations. Healing does not need an audience to be effective. Silence sharpens your awareness. When you stop talking, you begin noticing what others miss. You see intentions behind words. You recognize patterns in behavior. You learn who respects you when you are quiet and who only values you when you perform. Silence reveals truth about people, about situations, and about yourself. In leadership, silence is often misunderstood. Many assume that authority must be loud to be effective. But the most respected leaders are not always the most vocal ones. They listen. They observe. They choose their words carefully. When they speak, it carries weight because it is not diluted by constant noise. Silence gives your words gravity. It teaches others that when you speak, it matters. Silence is also a weapon against insecurity, both yours and others. When you refuse to react, you refuse to be controlled. When you do not explain yourself, you disrupt expectations. People who rely on your reactions lose power when you stay quiet. Silence forces others to sit with their assumptions while you continue moving forward unbothered. This does not mean silence should be permanent. There are moments when your voice is necessary, when truth must be spoken, when boundaries must be clearly drawn. But strategic silence ensures that when you do speak, it is intentional, timely, and effective. You are not silent because you are afraid. You are silent because you are selective. In 2026 and beyond, silence will separate those who are building from those who are broadcasting. The ones rising are not the ones explaining their every move, but the ones executing consistently behind the scenes. While others are busy talking about what they plan to do, the silent ones are already doing it. Silence teaches patience. It trains you to trust timing. It reminds you that results arrive faster when energy is focused instead of scattered. You learn to delay gratification, to let progress compound, and to allow success to reveal itself naturally. Loud beginnings often fade quickly. Quiet foundations last. In the end, silence is not about hiding. It is about alignment. It is about knowing when to speak and when to let actions do the talking. It is about conserving your strength for moments that truly matter. Silence is not weakness. It is wisdom in motion. So let others underestimate you because you are quiet. Let them assume you are inactive because you are not announcing. While they are distracted by noise, you are becoming. And when the results finally speak, they will speak loudly enough to make explanations unnecessary. Focus protects your vision from distraction and doubt. In a world engineered to divide attention, focus has become a rare and powerful discipline. Every notification, every opinion, every comparison is competing for your mental space. If you do not guard your focus intentionally, your vision will be constantly interrupted, reshaped, or abandoned altogether. Vision requires clarity, and clarity cannot survive in a distracted mind. Distraction is not always obvious. Sometimes it arrives disguised as opportunity. Not every open door is meant for you. Every invitation aligns with your purpose. Focus gives you the ability to say no without guilt and to walk away without explanation. You know what you are building. You stop chasing what merely looks good. Focus narrows your path so your energy is not diluted across too many directions. Doubt often enters through distraction. The moment your attention drifts toward other people's progress, timelines, or opinions, you begin questioning your own pace. Comparison quietly erodes confidence. You start wondering if you are behind, if you chose the wrong path, if your vision is still valid. Focus acts as a shield. It keeps your eyes on your assignment instead of someone else's highlight reel. Vision is fragile in its early stages. Before results are visible, belief must carry the weight. This is when doubt is most dangerous. Focus protects your vision during this vulnerable phase by anchoring you to your why. When you return daily to your purpose, distractions lose their power. You stop measuring progress by external applause and start measuring it by internal alignment. Focus also brings emotional stability. When your attention is scattered, your emotions become reactive. You feel overwhelmed, anxious, and constantly behind. But when you focus, your mind becomes calmer. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions. You begin responding instead of reacting. Focus creates mental order. Mental order strengthens confidence. There will always be voices offering advice, criticism, and unsolicited opinions. Some mean well. Others project their fears. If you listen to all of them, your vision will become fragmented. Focus helps you discern which voices matter and which must be ignored. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. Protecting your focus means protecting your belief system. Focus demands sacrifice. You cannot be fully committed to your vision while entertaining constant distractions. This may mean stepping back from social noise, limiting access to your time, or disappointing people who are accustomed to your availability. Focus often requires isolation, not as punishment, as preparation. Growth needs space to breathe. When you focus, you begin to see progress that was previously invisible. Small improvements compound. Skills sharpen. Confidence builds quietly. You stop expecting instant results and start trusting the process. Focus teaches patience by reminding you that meaningful outcomes take time. Doubt thrives on impatience, but focus nurtures endurance. Distraction weakens execution. Even the strongest vision will fail without consistent action. Focus transforms intention into discipline, turns ideas into routines and goals into habits. Each day of focused effort reinforces belief. Doubt fades when you see yourself showing up consistently, even when motivation is low. Focus also strengthens resilience. When setbacks come, and they will, focused individuals recover faster. They do not abandon their vision at the first obstacle because their attention is anchored to the bigger picture. Distraction magnifies obstacles. Focus puts them in perspective. You understand that delays are not denials and challenges are not confirmations of failure. There is power in doing one thing well. Modern culture glorifies multitasking, but progress comes from depth, not division. Focus allows you to go deeper, to master your craft, and to refine your approach. Mastery builds confidence, and confidence leaves little room for doubt. Focus keeps your vision honest. When you are focused, you regularly evaluate whether your actions align with your intentions. You stop drifting and start directing your energy deliberately. Vision without focus becomes fantasy. Focus turns vision into reality. Doubt often whispers when you are tired. Focus helps you manage your energy by prioritizing what truly matters. Instead of exhausting yourself on everything, you invest in what moves you forward. Energy directed with focus lasts longer and produces greater results. In focus seasons, you learn to trust yourself. You become less dependent on validation and more grounded in conviction. You stop seeking permission to pursue what you already know you are meant to do. Focus strengthens self-trust, and self-trust quiets doubt. As you protect your focus, you also protect your future. Every distracted day is a day borrowed from your potential. Every focused day is a deposit into your destiny. Focus is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most with intention and consistency. In the end, focus is an act of respect for your vision, your time, and your growth. It is how you defend your dreams from distraction and your confidence from doubt. When you focus, you are telling yourself that what you are building matters enough to be protected. And when something is protected long enough, it has the chance to become powerful. Preparation often happens in obscurity, long before progress is visible, before recognition arrives, before results can be measured by applause or approval. There is a quiet season where nothing seems to be happening on the surface. This season is uncomfortable because it lacks validation, yet it is essential because it builds foundation. Obscurity is not a delay in purpose. It is the workshop where purpose is shaped. Most people want the platform without the process. They desire visibility without development, recognition without refinement. But exposure without preparation can be destructive. Obscurity protects you from being seen before you are ready. It gives you the freedom to make mistakes privately, to learn without pressure, and to grow without judgment. What feels like being overlooked is often life giving you space to become capable. In obscurity, character is formed. When no one is watching, your habits are honest. Your discipline is tested not by applause, but by commitment. You learn whether you will show up consistently without external rewards. This is where integrity is built, doing the work even when there is no audience to impress. Obscurity strips away performance and reveals intention. Skills are sharpened in silence. Repetition, practice, and study rarely draw attention, yet they are the backbone of mastery. No one celebrates the hours spent learning, failing, and trying again, but those hours accumulate into competence and confidence. When the moment finally arrives, what looks like sudden success is actually the result of unseen preparation. Obscurity also teaches humility. Without constant praise, you learn to ground your identity in growth rather than recognition. You stop chasing approval and start valuing progress. This humility becomes an anchor when success eventually comes, keeping you steady when attention increases. Those who skip obscurity often struggle with entitlement. Those shaped by it understand responsibility. There is safety in obscurity. Everyone needs access to your becoming. Early exposure invites opinions that can discourage or misdirect you. Some people will criticize what they do not understand. Others will doubt what they cannot see. Obscurity shields your vision while it is still forming. It allows your confidence to mature before it is tested by scrutiny. Obscurity is where resilience is developed. Progress feels slow and recognition is absent. Quitting becomes tempting. Staying committed during this phase strengthens endurance. You learn to push through boredom, uncertainty, and self-doubt. This resilience becomes invaluable later when challenges increase and expectations grow. You can remain faithful in obscurity. You can remain grounded in success. Preparation in obscurity also deepens self-awareness. Without external noise, you are forced to confront your strengths and weaknesses honestly. You discover what needs improvement and what deserves investment. Obscurity becomes a mirror, reflecting areas that still require work. This self-knowledge is critical for long-term growth. Many people mistake obscurity for failure. They assume that if they are not seen, they are not progressing. But growth does not require visibility, it requires consistency. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. Roots form in darkness so the plant can stand in storms. Obscurity is not the absence of growth, it is the environment that makes growth possible. Obscurity trains patience. It teaches you to trust timing instead of rushing outcomes. When you learn to wait without bitterness, your maturity expands. Patience gained in obscurity prevents recklessness in success. You become less reactive, more strategic, and more intentional. There is also refinement in obscurity. You experiment, adjust, and evolve without pressure. You learn what works and what doesn't. This refinement process is often messy, and that is why it is hidden. Public trial and error can be discouraging. Private refinement builds confidence. Obscurity prepares you for responsibility. Visibility increases influence, and influence demands wisdom. Without preparation, influence can overwhelm. Obscurity strengthens your capacity to carry more without losing yourself. It expands your emotional, mental, and practical readiness. When you finally step into visibility, obscurity becomes your advantage. You are not easily shaken by criticism because you have already faced silence. You are not intoxicated by praise because you remember the quiet. You lead with substance because you were shaped without shortcuts. Preparation in obscurity aligns you with purpose. You stop pursuing attention and start pursuing excellence. Excellence does not require an audience, it requires commitment. When excellence is established privately, recognition becomes a byproduct rather than a goal. In the end, obscurity is not where dreams go to die. It is where they are strengthened. It is the unseen season that makes the visible moment sustainable. If you are currently in obscurity, do not despise it. Honor it. This is where you are being equipped and positioned. Stay faithful in the quiet. Keep learning, building, and growing when no one is clapping. Because when the time comes for visibility, you will not need to scramble to become, you will already be ready. Not every season requires explanation or visibility. Some seasons are meant to be lived, not explained. In a culture that constantly demands updates, clarity, and proof, there is quiet strength in allowing your life to unfold without commentary. You do not owe the world a summary of what you are becoming, especially while you are still in the process of becoming it. There are times when silence is not avoidance but alignment. You are not hiding, you are focusing. You are not disappearing, you are developing. Visibility can be powerful, but it can also be premature. When growth is still fragile, exposure can interrupt it. Some seasons require protection, presentation. Explanation often comes from pressure, not purpose. The urge to explain yourself usually appears when others misunderstand your pace, your choices, or your priorities. But misunderstanding does not require correction in every case. Some people will never understand your path because they are not meant to walk it. Explaining yourself repeatedly can drain energy that should be invested in growth. Visibility invites opinions. Opinions invite comparison. Comparison invites doubt. When you step back from visibility, you create space to hear your own voice again. You begin to move based on conviction rather than consensus. This is essential in seasons of transition, healing, and rebuilding. Too many voices can confuse direction. There are seasons when you are shedding old versions of yourself. During these times, visibility can trap you in expectations that no longer fit who you are becoming. People tend to hold you to past identities, even after you have outgrown them. Stepping away from explanation gives you room to evolve without resistance. Not every season is meant to be productive in ways others can see. Some seasons are inward. You are learning, unlearning, healing, and realigning. These internal shifts may not produce immediate external results, but they are foundational. Visibility would only invite judgment on progress that is not meant to be measured publicly. Explanation can also become a form of self-defense. When you feel misunderstood, you may try to justify your choices to feel safe. But safety does not come from convincing others. It comes from trusting yourself. When you stop explaining, you reclaim authority over your narrative. There is wisdom in discernment. Some people deserve access to your journey. Others only need to see the outcome. Oversharing can dilute significance. Everything is visible, nothing feels sacred. Privacy allows meaning to deepen. It gives weight to your progress. In seasons of preparation, explanation is unnecessary because results have not yet matured. Speaking too soon can create pressure to perform instead of progress. It can rush a process that needs time. Letting things develop quietly allows them to become solid before being scrutinized. Visibility is often confused with relevance. You do not lose value because you are not seen. Worth is not determined by attention. Some of the most impactful work happens behind the scenes. When you measure your worth by visibility, you become dependent on validation. Stepping back breaks the dependence. There are also seasons when you are being redirected. Paths change. Priorities shift. During these moments, explaining can feel complicated because you are still gaining clarity yourself. It is okay not to have answers ready. It is okay to move quietly until alignment is restored. Not everyone will understand your silence. Some will assume you have stalled. Others will project their fears onto your stillness. Let them. You are not required to perform clarity for those who are not invested in your growth. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to your process. When you remove the pressure to explain, you gain emotional freedom. You stop rehearsing justifications in your mind. You stop editing yourself to be palatable. This freedom creates space for creativity, courage, and clarity. You begin to move with greater confidence because your energy is no longer divided. There is also power in mystery. When everything is explained, curiosity dies. When everything is visible, impact weakens. Allowing your journey to remain partially unseen builds anticipation and authority. When you finally speak or show up, your presence carries weight. Not every season requires visibility because visibility attracts responsibility. When you are still strengthening, responsibility can overwhelm. Waiting until you are ready ensures sustainability. It is better to rise quietly and stand firmly than to rise loudly and fall quickly. In time, clarity will come. Results will appear. Direction will solidify. When that happens, explanation will be unnecessary. Your growth will speak. Your alignment will be evident. Your peace will be visible without words. Until then, honor the quiet seasons. Trust the unseen work. You are not behind because you are not visible. You are not weak because you are not explaining. You are simply in a season that requires focus, patience, and privacy. Consistency builds power when attention is absent. Real power is not formed in moments of applause, visibility, or external validation. It is forged in the quiet hours when no one is watching, praising, or or expecting anything from you. When attention disappears, excuses become louder, but so does opportunity. What you choose to do in the absence of recognition determines the strength of what you will eventually become. Most people are motivated by attention. They perform well when someone is watching, when results are being noticed, or when progress is being celebrated. But when the spotlight fades, their effort fades with it. Consistency separates those who rely on motivation from those who are driven by discipline. Discipline does not require an audience, only requires commitment. When attention is absent, consistency becomes a mirror. It reveals whether your goals are truly important to you or merely exciting ideas. Without applause, you are forced to confront your intentions honestly. Do you show up because you believe in the process or only because you enjoy being seen? Consistency in private answers that question clearly. Power is accumulated, not announced. Each small, repeated action strengthens capacity over time. The daily choices that seem insignificant are the very ones that shape endurance, skill, and confidence. No single day feels powerful. The accumulation of many faithful days creates momentum that cannot be easily broken. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary strength. In the absence of attention, ego loses influence. There is no image to maintain, no performance to uphold. You are free to focus on improvement rather than impression. This freedom accelerates growth. You are willing to practice longer, fail more honestly, correct weaknesses without fear of judgment. That is where real progress happens. Consistency also builds trust. First with yourself. Every time you show up when no one is watching, you reinforce self-belief. You begin to trust your word, your discipline, and your resilience. This internal trust becomes unshakable confidence. You no longer need external validation because you know what you are capable of sustaining. Attention can be distracting. It can inflate expectations before foundations are strong enough to support them. When you are consistent without attention, you are building capacity quietly. You are strengthening systems, habits, and mindset without pressure. This makes your eventual success sustainable rather than temporary. There is a reason many people struggle once they gain visibility. They skip the phase where consistency was practiced without reward. Without that foundation, attention becomes overwhelming. Those who have mastered consistency in obscurity remain grounded when attention arrives because their identity is not tied to it. Consistency during unnoticed seasons develops emotional resilience. You learn to manage discouragement, boredom, and doubt without quitting. You stop relying on excitement and learn to operate through responsibility. This emotional strength is a form of power that cannot be taught. It must be built. When attention is absent, time slows down, progress feels less dramatic. This is where patience is trained. You learn to trust long-term growth rather than immediate results. This patience prevents impulsive decisions that can sabotage future success. Consistency teaches you to think beyond the moment. Without external praise, you become more intentional about where you invest your energy. You stop doing things for appearance and start doing them for impact. This clarity improves quality. Your work becomes deeper, more refined, more aligned with purpose. Many people underestimate the power of routine. Routine may feel boring, but it is the engine of transformation. Repeated actions rewire behavior. Over time, consistency becomes identity. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You simply are. This identity shift is powerful because it removes internal resistance. In seasons without attention, comparison loses its grip. You are not measuring yourself against others because no one is being showcased. You are focused on your own growth. This creates healthy progress. You move at your own pace without unnecessary pressure. Consistency also builds credibility. When results eventually appear, they are backed by depth. You are not scrambling to prove yourself. Your confidence is quiet but firm. People sense that you are rooted, not reactive. That rootedness commands respect. Attention finally arrives. Consistency protects you from burnout. You are accustomed to effort without reward, so pressure does not break you. You do not chase validation because you learn to operate without it. Your power is internal, not dependent on external conditions. Consistency in the dark prepares you for responsibility in the light. You have already practiced showing up when it was hard, boring, and unseen. Success becomes an extension of your habits, not a disruption of them. In the end, consistency is not glamorous, but it is unstoppable. It builds power quietly, steadily, and relentlessly. When attention is absent, consistency becomes your advantage. While others wait to be noticed, you are becoming capable. So keep showing up, keep working. Keep building when no one is watching, because the strength you develop in silence will be the reason you stand firm when the world finally pays attention. Growth beneath the surface creates lasting elevation. What endures is rarely built in public view. The most stable structures are formed from foundations no one ever sees, yet everything depends on them. In the same way, true personal growth begins where attention cannot reach, within habits, mindset, discipline, and character. Surface level success may rise quickly. Only hidden growth can sustain elevation over time. Many people mistake visibility for progress. They equate being seen with moving forward and being recognized with becoming better. But visibility without depth is fragile. It cannot withstand pressure, criticism, or change. Growth beneath the surface strengthens the internal framework that holds everything else together. Without it, elevation becomes temporary and exhausting. Beneath the surface is where beliefs are reshaped. This is where you confront limitations, challenge old narratives, and redefine what you think is possible. These mental shifts rarely look impressive from the outside, yet they determine how high and how far you can go. If the mind is not strengthened first, elevation becomes overwhelming rather than empowering. Emotional growth also happens quietly. Learning to regulate reactions, process disappointment, and remain steady under pressure is invisible work. No one applauds emotional maturity. It changes everything. It allows you to navigate success without arrogance and failure without collapse. Emotional stability is a silent strength that supports long-term elevation. Character is developed beneath the surface. Integrity, patience, accountability are formed when no one is monitoring your choices. These qualities may not attract attention, but they attract trust. And trust creates opportunities that talent alone cannot sustain. When character is weak, elevation exposes flaws. When character is strong, elevation amplifies impact. Habits are another form of hidden growth. Daily routines, repeated behaviors, and disciplined actions quietly shape outcomes. No single habit feels transformative, but together they determine trajectory. Growth both beneath the surface turns effort into identity. You no longer force progress, it becomes natural. Skill development often happens out of sight. Practice, repetition, and refinement are rarely glamorous. This unseen work creates competence and confidence. When you are elevated into greater responsibility, your preparation shows, not through words, but through performance. People call it talent, but it is really accumulated discipline. Hidden growth also builds resilience. Struggles faced privately strengthen endurance. You learn to persist without encouragement, to adapt without recognition, and to recover without applause. This resilience ensures that when challenges arise at higher levels, you do not retreat. You rise because you are reinforced from within. Growth beneath the surface refines discernment. You learn when to speak, when to wait, and when to walk away. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding strategically. This wisdom is not flashy, but it is powerful. Protects elevation from unnecessary conflict and self-sabotage. Many people want elevation without preparation. They crave rapid advancement, aware that sudden success without internal growth can destabilize. Elevation multiplies pressure, visibility, and responsibility. Without hidden growth, these forces overwhelm. Beneath the surface, development expands capacity so elevation feels aligned rather than chaotic. Hidden growth also deepens self-awareness. You understand your triggers, strengths, and limitations. This awareness allows you to lead yourself effectively before leading others. Elevation without self-awareness often leads to burnout or imbalance. Growth beneath the surface creates clarity that sustains balance. Patience is another product of unseen growth. When you invest time in internal development, you learn to trust timing. You stop rushing outcomes and start respecting process. This patience prevents shortcuts that compromise long-term success. When elevation finally comes, hidden growth becomes evident. You're calm under pressure, clarity in decision-making, Consistency in performance revealed the work that was done in silence. People may call it luck or timing, but you know it was preparation. Growth beneath the surface also creates humility. You remember the quiet work, the slow progress, the unseen effort. This humility keeps you grounded when recognition increases. It reminds you that elevation is a responsibility, not a reward. Sustainable elevations is not about rising fast, it is about staying steady. Hidden growth anchors you when circumstances change. Trends fade, applause shifts, internal strength remains. That is why growth beneath the surface creates elevation that lasts. In the end, what you build in silence determines what you can carry in success. Do not underestimate the value of unseen progress. Roots grow deep so the tree can stand tall. When the time comes to rise, it will not be fragile. It will be firm, grounded, and enduring. Results speak louder than intentions. It is one of the hardest truths to accept, yet one of the most essential principles for growth, success, and credibility. Intentions, dreams, plans may be noble, but they are invisible until they are translated into action. People are not persuaded by what you intend to do. They are convinced by what you deliver. Your words and promises carry weight only when they are backed by measurable outcomes. Intentions are easy. Everyone can speak them, declare them, and write them down in journals. They require little risk, little sacrifice, and little accountability. You can claim a vision without pursuing it, hope for change without creating it, and desire success without doing the work. Intentions alone do not move mountains. They are only the starting point. The world does not reward aspiration. It rewards execution. Action is the bridge between intention and impact. You can intend to be disciplined, but discipline is proven by consistent habits. You can intend to be kind. Kindness is recognized through deeds. You can intend to create wealth, influence, or legacy, but those things manifest only when your efforts are persistent, strategic, and visible. Until action is taken, intentions remain abstract ideas floating in potential without substance. Intentions also lack credibility because they are subjective. They exist in the mind and only you can see them. Results, however, are objective, tangible proof that effort was applied effectively. People cannot dispute outcomes. They cannot ignore progress. Results are indisputable evidence of capability. That is why they speak louder than any explanation, justification, or promise. Many people confuse talking about goals with achieving them. They announce their plans, outline their vision, and express commitment. They never follow through. Words are easy to produce, but consistency in action is rare. Intentions alone create the illusion of effort. Results, on the other hand, are the reality check. They separate those who merely dream from those who do. Intentions without results can also erode trust. If you repeatedly promise, plan, or commit without delivering, people stop believing in your reliability. Your credibility diminishes and influence weakens. Conversely, even small results achieved quietly demonstrate your integrity. Actions confirm character and capacity in a way that words never can. Results are the ultimate feedback. They reveal whether your approach is working, whether your strategy is effective, and whether your effort is aligned with your goals. Intentions do not provide this feedback. You can intend to grow, but until you measure improvement, you cannot know if growth is happening. Results offer clarity, insight, and direction. They are both the proof of progress and the guide for future steps. The emphasis on results also teaches accountability. Outcomes matter more than intentions. Excuses lose power. You cannot hide behind, "I meant well," or "I tried my best," indefinitely. Accountability drives focus, discipline, and innovation. It forces you to evaluate methods, eliminate inefficiencies, and maximize impact. Intentions alone rarely demand such rigor. Results also create influence and opportunity. People respond to what they see accomplished, not what they are promised. Leaders are recognized because of what they have done, not because of what they intend to do. Companies succeed because of deliverables, not projections. Movements grow because of tangible change, not slogans. Action produces visibility, momentum, credibility in a way that intentions cannot. Intentions matter, but only as a foundation. They are the blueprint, the vision, spark that ignites potential, yet blueprints remain inert until construction begins. A spark alone does not light the world. It must be sustained with fuel and flame. Consistent effort, hard work, and execution transform intentions into results. Without this, dreams stay dreams and plans remain paper. There is also a humility in letting results speak for you. You do not need to over-explain, defend, or justify. You do not need to seek approval for your ambition. When results are evident, they communicate on your behalf. This kind of authority is quiet but undeniable. It commands respect because it cannot be fabricated or denied. Results eliminate the need for persuasion. Results also inspire confidence in others and in yourself. When you achieve outcomes, no one can question your capability. Intentions may inspire. Results validate. They demonstrate that vision is backed by execution. They show that your ideas are not just theory. They are practical and effective. This builds momentum for even greater achievements. Intentions without results can become a trap. You may spend energy planning, dreaming, or talking, never applying. Over time, this erodes motivation and fosters frustration. People begin to see you as all talk, no action. The difference between aspiration and accomplishment is measured by tangible outcomes. Results are the proof that effort, focus, strategy are being applied correctly. Every meaningful journey involves moments where results are invisible at first, yet consistent action eventually yields them. Small wins compound into larger victories. Milestones achieved quietly become breakthroughs that cannot be ignored. The process of producing results teaches patience, resilience, and the value of consistent effort, lessons that intentions alone cannot provide. Intentions are important for clarity. They give direction, but results are important for validation. They give reality. The alignment of intention and result is where true success lies. If your intentions are noble but your results are absent, you must adjust, learn, act differently. If your results exist without noble intentions, impact may be achieved, but it lacks sustainability and integrity. True achievement requires both, yet results always speak louder. In conclusion, let your actions carry weight. Let your progress be visible through outcomes. Speak less about what you intend and focus more on what you can demonstrate. Let results be the language that communicates your commitment, discipline, capability. In the end, people will remember what you did, not what you planned. Success is tangible, not theoretical. Your legacy is built by the results you produce, not the intentions you harbor. Results speak louder than intentions because they are proof. They are evidence. They are indisputable. Intentions are seeds, but results are the harvest. Intentions are promises, but results are delivery. If you want influence, respect, and lasting impact, focus on producing outcomes. The world listens to results, and in them, your work, your vision, and your power are revealed. Excellence naturally attracts recognition. True excellence does not shout, it does not advertise, and it does not need validation to exist. It is quietly persistent, remarkably consistent, and unmistakably effective. Excellence is not about being the loudest in the room or having the most followers. It is about mastering your craft, refining your skills, and showing up with dedication that cannot be ignored. Over time, those who practice excellence create results and standards that command attention without ever seeking it. Recognition is not forced. It is a natural byproduct of persistent quality. Excellence begins with mindset. It is a refusal to settle for mediocrity and a commitment to constant growth. People who aim for excellence understand that every detail matters. They understand that shortcuts may yield temporary outcomes, but lasting success requires depth, precision, and intentionality. This mindset drives consistency, fuels discipline, and sets apart those who will eventually rise from those who remain ordinary. Recognition finds the diligent, not the distracted. Actions rooted in excellence are consistent regardless of audience. The moment you begin to perform only when someone is watching, you diminish the power of true excellence. Excellence does not rely on external attention. It thrives in private effort, repeated practice, disciplined execution. Whether anyone notices or not, excellence is being cultivated daily through intentional action. Recognition is drawn naturally to those who maintain this standard over time. Excellence also inspires trust. When people witness consistent quality, They begin to rely on it. They know that a person of excellence will deliver even when circumstances are challenging or the spotlight is absent. Trust is a form of recognition because it establishes authority and credibility. People naturally defer to those who demonstrate mastery and reliability. Excellence becomes habitual. Recognition follows as a natural consequence of reputation. Those who pursue excellence focus on impact rather than appearance. They are not concerned with being seen. They are concerned with creating value. This focus produces work that resonates, solutions that last, contributions that matter. When your work speaks for itself, attention comes not because you demanded it, but because it cannot be ignored. Excellence has a voice, even when it is silent. Patience is required to cultivate excellence. Recognition rarely appears immediately. Often, it is delayed because excellence is built in layers, not in a single moment. The quiet work, the repeated effort, the invisible hours are accumulating into outcomes that will eventually draw attention. Many give up before recognition arrives because they confuse lack of visibility with lack of progress. Those who remain committed understand that excellence is a long game and recognition is inevitable when quality persists. Excellence is also selective in its influence. It attracts the right attention while deterring superficial recognition. When you commit to quality and integrity, recognition comes from those who value substance over spectacle. You are not rewarded for being noticed by everyone. You are rewarded for being acknowledged by those who matter and who understand the depth of your contribution. Excellence naturally filters attention and draws it toward meaning. Preparation beneath the surface enhances the visibility of excellence. Often notice the final result without realizing the effort behind it. A well-executed presentation, a seamless solution, perfectly completed task carries weight because it reflects unseen hours of dedication. The recognition that follows is a reflection of both visible results and invisible preparation. Excellence bridges the gap between effort and acknowledgement. Excellence requires humility alongside skill. It is not about bragging or self-promotion. Those who excel quietly understand that recognition is earned, not demanded. They do not chase applause. They allow their work to speak on their behalf. In doing so, they maintain credibility and attract attention organically. Recognition drawn by genuine excellence lasts longer than recognition obtained through self-promotion or superficial display. Excellence also cultivates influence. People naturally want to associate with those who demonstrate high standards. Teams, organizations, communities are drawn toward individuals whose excellence raises the bar. Recognition is not simply praise. It is respect, trust, and authority. It positions you as someone whose work decisions and presence are valued, sought after, and emulated. Critics and competitors inadvertently highlight excellence. When quality is consistent, mistakes or shortcomings in comparison become evident. Those who strive for mediocrity are exposed in contrast to consistent high performance. Recognition in these cases may not always be intentional. Excellence makes itself known. It stands out even in crowded spaces or competitive environments because it cannot be duplicated casually. Recognition that stems from genuine quality is sustainable and enduring. Achievements built on consistency, precision, high standards are remembered long after fleeting trends fade. While temporary applause may come from spectacle, lasting recognition comes from excellence. People remember who delivered results that mattered and made a meaningful difference, not who merely claimed they would. Focus amplifies excellence. Concentrating on your craft, refining skills, and prioritizing quality over quantity, you create work that naturally rises above noise. Recognition is drawn to what is refined, impactful, and relevant. Excellence acts like a magnet. When it is authentic, persistent, and uncompromising, attention will inevitably gravitate toward it. Excellence teaches resilience, which further enhances recognition. Challenges, failures, obstacles are inevitable, but those committed to excellence continue to produce despite adversity. Recognition often follows those who persevere and maintain quality when circumstances are difficult because the ability to sustain standards under pressure commands respect. Excellence in adversity is especially noticeable and memorable. In essence, excellence is both cause and effect. The cause is deliberate action, discipline, and integrity. The effect is recognition, influence, and impact. One cannot exist without the other in a meaningful context. Recognition is not something to pursue aggressively. It is the natural outcome of authentic, consistent, and high-quality effort. Excellence ensures that when the world notices, it notices for the right reasons. Therefore, focus on your craft, your process, and your standards. Work quietly and persistently without distraction or need for validation. Let your results be flawless, your discipline unwavering, and your impact undeniable. In doing so, recognition will not only find you, it will be earned, deserved, and lasting. Excellence creates its own gravity, and in its orbit, acknowledgement becomes inevitable, organic, and powerful. When work is rooted in intention, meaning, alignment with something greater than yourself, it carries a force that cannot be ignored. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding actions, decisions, and priorities even in the face of obstacles, distractions, or skepticism. Work without purpose may produce results, but it lacks staying power and influence. Work with purpose resonates, inspires, and creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond what can be immediately measured. Purpose provides clarity in an often chaotic world. It answers the question, why am I doing this? Without requiring constant external validation. When your actions are guided by purpose, you do not get lost in trivial tasks or meaningless activities. Every decision, every effort, every investment of energy aligns with a larger goal, creating coherence between intention and action. This alignment naturally produces impact because it channels energy efficiently toward outcomes that matter. Work driven by purpose inspires persistence. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are inevitable in any meaningful endeavor. When your work is tied to a deeper reason, obstacles do not discourage you, they refine you. Purpose provides resilience. It reminds you that temporary difficulties are part of a bigger journey. This resilience translates into long-term results because you continue to show up consistently even when motivation wavers or recognition is absent. Purpose also attracts the right opportunities. When you operate from a place of meaningful intention, your focus becomes magnetic. People, resources, circumstances that align with your purpose naturally gravitate toward you. Doors open not because you are loud or visible, because the energy of your purpose is undeniable. Impact is not manufactured. It is a byproduct of authentic alignment between vision and action. Purpose-driven work transcends self-interest. It moves beyond what is convenient, comfortable, or immediately rewarding. It considers the broader effect of decisions on people, communities, and systems. This shift from ego to mission amplifies the impact of every action. Work that is rooted in purpose does not merely produce outcomes, it transforms environments, influences culture, and changes lives. Intentions alone are not enough. Many people have good intentions but fail to produce results that matter. Purpose provides direction, focus, and accountability. It ensures that efforts are not scattered or wasted. When work is purpose-driven, every task contributes to the larger vision. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions carry weight because they are consistent with a meaningful objective. Purpose-driven work also inspires others. People can sense authenticity and alignment even without words. When you are committed to a mission larger than yourself, your dedication communicates value, integrity, and reliability. Others are drawn to your example, motivated to contribute, and influenced to raise their own standards. The impact of purpose is amplified when it is contagious. It creates networks of influence that extend far beyond the individual. Purpose adds depth to resilience. Every project, initiative, or task is tested by time, scrutiny, or challenge. Purpose sustains effort when results are delayed or progress feels slow. Work without purpose can become frustrating, shallow, or half-hearted in such moments. Purpose provides the internal motivation to endure, adapt, and continue refining your approach. This endurance ensures that impact is both real and lasting. Alignment between purpose and action also fosters clarity in decision-making. When faced with choices, distractions, or conflicting demands, purpose acts as a filter. It allows you to prioritize what truly matters and discard what does not. This strategic focus magnifies the effect of your work because energy is invested in areas where it produces meaningful outcomes. Impact grows naturally when purpose guides action. Purpose-driven work enhances creativity. When there is a clear reason behind your efforts, problem solving becomes more innovative. Constraints are reframed as opportunities, and challenges are approached with intentionality. Creativity grounded in purpose produces solutions that are relevant, practical, and impactful. It ensures that the work resonates with both immediate and long-term goals. Impact derived from purpose is undeniable because it is rooted in authenticity. People recognize when actions are consistent with beliefs, when results reflect deeper intentions rather than superficial ambition. Credibility and influence follow. Recognition may not be immediate, but the lasting effect is inevitable. Purpose ensures that the work you produce carries authority, respect, and influence because it is inseparable from genuine intention. Purpose-driven work also fosters legacy. Actions that are aligned with mission and values leave enduring marks on communities, systems, and individuals. This legacy is measurable not only in accomplishments, but also in the inspiration, mentorship, and opportunities created for others. The ripple effect of purposeful work extends beyond the original scope, creating an impact that continues even when you are no longer directly involved. Purpose cultivates internal satisfaction, which is crucial for sustainability. Recognition and external reward are unpredictable. They cannot be guaranteed. Work driven solely by these external factors is vulnerable to disappointment. Purpose-driven work provides intrinsic motivation. It fuels passion, sustains discipline, and reinforces commitment regardless of external circumstances. This intrinsic drive magnifies impact because it ensures consistency and focus. In essence, purpose acts as the catalyst that converts effort into influence. Without purpose, work can be reactive, scattered, or superficial. With purpose, every action is intentional and every result contributes to a larger narrative. Impact becomes a natural consequence because it is rooted in meaning rather than happenstance. Purpose transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Purpose-driven work demands accountability. It requires you to measure results not just by completion, but by alignment with your larger mission. This accountability ensures that your impact is meaningful, intentional, and measurable. It is what separates fleeting success from enduring influence. Those who operate without purpose may produce outcome, but their effect is often shallow or temporary. Purpose ensures that outcomes matter. Finally, purpose-driven work builds momentum. Every completed task, every small success, every disciplined choice compounds over time. As momentum grows, impact increases exponentially. Purpose keeps that momentum focused on meaningful goals rather than being dissipated by distractions or misalignment. The result is undeniable work that leaves a mark, inspires others, and creates lasting value. In conclusion, work with purpose leads to undeniable impact because it is intentional, aligned, and resilient. It channels energy toward meaningful outcomes, inspires others, sustains effort through challenges, and produces results that matter. When your work is rooted in purpose, recognition, influence, and legacy are inevitable. Purpose transforms effort into power, ideas into action, and ambition into impact. It is the force that ensures that what you do today resonates far beyond today, creating significance that cannot be ignored.